Hey guys, welcome. So today we're going to be going over how to create these beautiful faux stone earrings. And I'm going to go step by step. This is going to be more of an in-depth tutorial for people who want to follow along. And then once we get to the baking process, we'll speed it up. So that said, for this tutorial, you are going to need Cernit translucent clay. I don't know why it's such a funny word for me to say. You'll need two different clay colors. I am using black Sculpey Primo. And then I mixed up my own color here. I think for this, I'll see if I can find the recipe and I'll link it below in the description if you want to recreate this exact color, but it's just a cream taupe whited out with, a lot of white. So for this tutorial, those are the three colors you're going to need. You're not going to use anywhere as much of that clay. You're going to use a very, very tiny amount. But that said, let's go ahead, open up our Cernit, and let's get started. All right, I've went ahead, I've cut off some Cernit. I am going to run this through the pasta machine just because the stuff is very sticky. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now and I'll be right back. All right, I have run it through the pasta machine. Here is the thickness. It is on a 1 on my pasta machine. I'm gonna smooth this out. And this is where I'm going to start creating that design. Now, the trick here is to use a teeny weeny little bit. Now, when I say teeny weeny, I mean, if you could, here, I'm going to show you what a teeny weeny little bit means. That's teeny weeny. If you can even make it smaller than that, great. But we are just going to create teeny weeny little pieces. I mean, if you guys can see that, I mean, that's dinky. It's almost just sticking to my finger, and I'm going to place it down. All right, so that's about how much black I'm adding. As you can see, it is extremely teeny weeny and it's very, very thin. And now I'm gonna go ahead and get started on the next color. Same thing, same exact technique. I'm using very, very little amounts and I'm just going to start pressing it in. All right, so now I have my pieces, and as you can see, it's a nice good coverage. I still have a lot of white space. Now here's where we're gonna start the next step. I want you to segment this into 4 pieces. And then you're gonna take those 4 pieces, and I want you to stack them on top of each other. Trust the process, guys, trust the process. The reason we're doing this is we're creating that layer. And here, you see how there's literally color all throughout it. We don't just want the color on the top, we want it all scattered within. Okay, so now I have my stack of polymer clay, and this is where I want to go ahead and start, just marry the two. Not too much, just gonna marry it just a little. I want it all together in one bit. Perfect. Great. Okay, now are you ready, guys? Next step. You are going to chop this up. One way, and then another direction. Okay, I want you to take all the pieces, pull them apart, kind of separate them, mix them around. We want different pieces to be touching other areas. We're basically recompartmentalizing the whole thing, okay? Okay, good. I'm gonna take it, another little square, nothing crazy. Just kind of make it like a little bit like a rectangle cube. Okay, perfect. There's really no right or wrong way to mold it. Now, you're gonna do that same thing all over again. I want you to, again, cut it. Now what we're doing is we had only a little bit of color in there and we are just separating it out. I'm gonna get creative and we're gonna go this way too. Basically, you wanna cut this up as much as you can. Okay, again, I wanna pull it up, move it all around, get different pieces, touching other pieces. One thing about Cernit is it's so sticky. So sticky. But you see how we're starting to get just a little bit, it's already starting to be random. Okay. Again, this is sticky. I'm gonna chop it up again. Trust the process, guys. Trust the process. It's so funny. You cut it up and it still feels like it's stuck together just because the Cerna is so... Okay. All right, so I think we've cut that up pretty good. You'll know you've cut it up because if you look here, you see you got a lot of tiny little pieces. I mean, tinier than what we had put down. Once you see how they're just tiny little specks, I got a little bit of striping in there. That's okay. Then you know you are ready to go ahead and create your cane. And this is where we're going to turn it into a cube. Rather than a long skinny rectangle, I prefer more of an actual cube. Super sticky. If you need to pop this in the freezer because maybe it's a little too sticky, you can do that. That said, now we're going to begin the process of cutting the clay. All right, let's go ahead and slice into this. As you can see here, it really is not holding up its shape well. I probably should have popped this in the freezer, but that's okay. Okay, and now I'm going to place them together side by side. Perfect, and then I'm going to take my roller and begin to marry the two. See how we're starting to get that nice, you guys see that? Oh, that's beautiful. Yep, so now you're going to thin it out so it's not as thick. We're really marrying the two pieces. Yeah, this is going to be beautiful, guys. All right. So now this is where I would take whatever shape I'm looking to do. I have these cutouts that you can use that. Basically, it's all different kinds of shapes that you can use as a template. All you need is a printer, some scissors, and then a way to actually cut it with like an X-Acto knife. So I'm going to use this for this next step. If you want the link on how to download these, I will also list it below in the description in case you want to copy this exact shape. All right, let's go ahead and get started with the next step. Now comes the fun part, is cutting out the shape. I really like this template because I feel like they're very easy to trace, and then you can flip it over and create a mirrored matching set. Game changer, guys, game changer. Once my shapes are cut, I'm going to peel away the excess. Don't forget the middle part, and these are good to go ahead and pop in the oven. Now that extra clay, I'm actually going to create 3 little beads. I'm measuring out the amount of clay that way so they are going to be the even size, and I'm just going to roll them into tiny little balls. So you will need 6 balls total. This is what they look like when it is finished baking. I'm going to be using a UV resin and a UV light to cure the resin. Here is what it's going to look like once it is resined. Woo! So shiny and glossy. I absolutely love this look. As for those cooked balls, we need to turn them into beads. So to do that, we are going to drill a hole in them. Since they are thicker, you're going to drill from one side, flip it, rotate it, and then drill from the other side. It's pretty easy. They line up pretty well. Once you have the hole drilled, you'll be able to see light pass through. As you can see here, I can see light pass through on the other side. Then I'm going to take a flat bottom eyelet pin. Now it's flat because you see here the edge. It's really important that you get the flat ones. So I'm just going to slide the eyelet pin inside the bead, and I'm going to add a little bit of accenting beading on top just because I felt like it needed a little extra razzle dazzle. So once I've done that, I now need to close my eyelet pin. So I'm going to take a pair of pliers, bend it forward towards me, move my pliers up just a bit, and then I'm going to round it out by bending it forward. So I'm creating a loop with the pliers. Then I'm going to take some, I think they're called flush cutters. They're super, super sharp though. And I'm going to snip away the extra wire that I no longer need. Then I'm going to take my pliers again and I'm going to close that loop. As you can see it right here. So pretty. Now you're gonna need 3 for each pair of earrings. Real quickly, I'm going to drill some holes into my large base piece. I like to make sure light can pass through, that way so I have a lot of movement in my jewelry. As you can see here, I've added the pieces. Now I'm going to make these some post. So I'm using stainless steel post, some Gorilla Clear glue. I'm just going to scoop out some of that glue and place it on the back of my earrings. Now I have a little trick that I like to use. I like to take pliers and make sure I really secure the contact between the metal and the clay. Otherwise these could pop off. Now I am someone that I like to do extra added security, so once it is dry to the touch, I'm then going to take some UV resin, and I have it in this cute little squeegee bottle here. And I'm just going to put some UV resin on the metal piece as well as on the clay piece, just to make sure that this doesn't pop off. If you're allergic to resin, I would not recommend resin. I am not, and most of my customers are not, so you can use clay to adhere it. I'm just using UV resin. And now I'm going to use a UV light. I absolutely love this light, guys. I will link it below. I got it off of Amazon for like 15 bucks. It works wonderfully. As you can see here, it is secure, beautiful, and let's see what it looks like on. And here it is on. What do you guys think?